It's September 1989. Joe Teresi has brought the Easyriders Streamliner to the famed Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah to make an assault on the motorcycle land speed record. Since 1978, the title of world's fastest motorcycle with a speed of 318 miles per hour has belonged to a Kawasaki-powered bike. Teresi's dream and determination is to bring the title back to an American-powered motorcycle. His chosen weapon is 23 feet long and weighs some 2,400 pounds. It's propelled by two nitro-burning 91 cubic inch Ruxton Harley-Davidson engines. And it's specifically designed to do just one thing: go as fast as possible in a straight line here on Bonneville's long, flat, natural salt course, the only place of its kind in the world. To meet the challenge of this attempt, Teresi has handpicked a group of hardcore motorcycle racers and mechanics who share his goal and whose combined backgrounds cover decades of motorcycle racing knowledge and experience. From the start, it's apparent these bikers know what they're doing. With veteran rider Dave Campos at the throttle, the Streamliner is turning well over 260 miles per hour right out the chute. But conquering Bonneville takes more than determination and horsepower. Murphy's Law is always in effect. Here, the low-speed chute deploys itself, bringing the second run to an early and abrupt halt. The challenge of racing here is so unique that trial and error is the only way to work up to record-level speeds. September 25th, 1989. Keith Ruxton's engines are obviously up to the task. The bike goes 294 one-way and sets a two-way average of 284 for a new record in the non-supercharged class. But Teresi and company have their eyes set on breaking the 318-mile-per-hour Kawasaki record, and the Streamliner has plenty of horsepower left to do it. September 26, 1989. With bad weather on the horizon, the crew knows that today may be their last shot at the record. The Streamliner is off to a great start and appears to be headed for record speed. But big plumes of salt in the distance spell trouble. The bike is out of control and rolling, a crash caused by a major blowout of the front tire. Dave is fine, but this assault on the record has ended prematurely. Disappointed but undaunted, Joe Teresi knows he has lost the battle, but not the war. Nine months later, June 28, 1990. The Easyriders crew returns to Bonneville with the same target as before, 318 miles per hour. But now they're armed with the additional experience and confidence gained from last year's attempt. Bonneville racing is so unlike anything else that any experience is invaluable. They may not know all the answers yet, but at least they've learned some of the questions. The team for the 1990 assault is essentially the same. Joe Teresi, Streamliner owner and publisher of Easyriders magazine, will oversee the operation, set the strategy, and drive the tow car.
We had to return in 90 because we had a commitment to the sponsors and to ourselves to bring the land speed record back to an American-made motorcycle. We knew that the bike had the potential to do it, and it was just a matter of getting back-to-back runs that exceeded the 318 speed, which we know the liner had the potential to do.
Master engine builder Keith Ruxton will again head the crew and keep the Streamliner and its Harley engines running in top form. And, seemingly unfazed after last year's spectacular crash, Dave Campos will again pilot the bike.
What can you say about Dave Campos? You put him in the cockpit of the liner, and he changes from mild-mannered diesel mechanic to Superman. I sometimes think if we could see him as he was approaching the time milder, probably a great big red S that appears on its chest.
This year, the Streamliner has lots of minor refinements and one very obvious change. Instead of a rubber tire, which proved to be the Achilles heel of the 1989 attempt, the Streamliner now sports a solid aluminum tire up front. Cars have employed aluminum tires at Bonneville, but they have never been used successfully on a motorcycle. The crew hopes this may be the key to setting the new record. If it works, it will help erase the memory of last year's disastrous tire failure. On June 29th, the crew is up before dawn to ready the Streamliner for its first run. Teresi has booked 2 weeks on the Salt, but knows from experience that there's never as much time as he'd like. Prior to the first run, the bike is tuned to Bonneville's 4,200-foot elevation. All systems are checked and tested, including the retractable skids. These work like a plane's landing gear and allow the bike to stay upright at the beginning and end of each run. The crew members aren't the only people interested in this record attempt. The bike is co-sponsored by some 10,000 American bikers who have chipped in to make the Streamliner project a reality. Their names are all listed on the Streamliner's body panels. The gearing on the Streamliner's 3-speed Muncie transmission is extremely tall, so it will be towed up to about 100 miles an hour. This will allow the bike to get rolling without spinning the rear tire under the brute horsepower. The first run appears to be going smoothly, but Dave feels some serious vibrations in the front end. He's distracted for just a second, but at over 200 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel more than the length of a football field. He veers slightly and center punches the 8-mile marker. The vinyl marker gives way easily, so that's not a problem, but the front end is. The aluminum front tire is skipping about 4 feet every time it hits an expansion crack in the Salt. After each run, the crew reviews the bike's performance on videotape.
He went right through the marker.
Yep, did you see that?
To correct the handling problem, the front suspension will have to be dialed in to better match the aluminum tire. Stiffer shock rates are the first thing called for. And they've also discovered a problem with a new rear tire.
That tire stood up just like a dragster slick on a burnout. That thing just got huge, and it not only got tall, but once it got tall, it didn't come back. It stayed tall and then started getting wider.
Just get a cutting torch and we'll get after it, but I think that's going to work fine. What do you think, Dave?
All right, should I check this one?
Some types of problem solving require computer analysis. This is more of a hammer and torch deal. The unusual salt surface is what makes Bonneville unlike any other racetrack. During the winter, it actually becomes a very shallow lake. The water evaporates in the spring, leaving the surface very flat and smooth over a huge area. That's what makes it so desirable for land speed record racing. But the Salt offers a whole new set of problems, including the fact that it sticks to and corrodes almost everything it touches.
The crust right here is about 1.5 inches thick right here, and that'll support easily the weight of a vehicle. The long course is about 3 inches thick, and there are substrata layers of salt inside of the water table. The water table is right up to within a couple inches of the crust. That feeds and evaporates through this upper crust, and it continues to build these small cauliflower formations, which we use a land plane that's either 6 by 12 feet or 12 by 40 feet, and it lays those over and smashes them into the lower areas. Those solidify and give us just an extremely smooth surface.
Sunday, July 1st. This will be a test run to see if the front-end problems have been solved. Is working better, and Dave is instructed to move on up through the gears if he doesn't encounter a problem. He feels a slight vibration and accelerates through it. But as he pushes past 275, everything changes in a hurry.
Stay with him.
All thoughts are on Dave in the cockpit.
Well, the first thing I thought was at that speed that we'd probably killed Dave. And I was really shook up. I didn't know what to do at that point. We were just praying that Dave was okay.
As we pulled up to the bike after the crash, it was laying on its side. But the only thing I remember seeing is the fact that Dave was standing upright and he looked like he was okay. When it comes to life, limb, or machinery, of course, you think about life and limb first.
In fact, Dave has escaped with just a bruised knuckle, but his first concern is that the video crew captured the spectacular crash.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I'm glad to see you
Oh,
stand
I'd
up.
like to see it.
Well, we had our work cut out for us. There was tremendous damage everywhere on that streamliner. There was nothing that hadn't been beat or banged or twisted or kinked, and we had to check everything out.
Started the wobble real slow, and in a matter of 1 or 2 seconds, it was out of control. And before I even turned the throttles off, it was locked and locked. When I was ready to pull the parachute, it went over on its right side. It just started rolling again, just like last year.
This is obviously more than a minor setback. It will take a lot of work just to see if the streamliner has any major structural damage. But Joe hasn't decided to throw in the towel yet.
We decided that even though there was extensive damage to the liner, that it was best to take 3-4 days down, repair the liner, and get back into this opportunity of good salt and good weather.
The old Wendover Air Force Base is adjacent to the Salt Flats, and the crew regroups in an airplane hangar.
We started with the body, and we got some spectators involved. They claimed to know something about body work, and the only tools they had to work with were hammers and 2x4s and a couple of tables and the cement floor. And they did an outstanding job beating that body back into shape. The rest of us were just checking anything and everything, from the transmission to motors and water jackets, wheel bearings. We were looking for broken welds anywhere and everywhere.
The only way to get the bike rebuilt is for the whole crew to work split shifts and pull double and triple duty. Keith's right-hand man and assistant crew chief is Micah McCloskey, who helped build the big Harley motors. Leon Hatcher is in charge of cockpit controls and seemingly every problem that arises. Everyone else has specific duties, but at times like this, everyone does whatever is needed most, including Bobby Torres, Keith Ball, Kit Myra, Jerry Pineda, and Dean Schaller. Also arriving in the nick of time is Chris Vonberg, who had custom machined many of the Streamliner's parts and whose help will be essential. In addition to all the repairs, a critical decision is made to fix the handling problem. The crew will switch back to a rubber front tire. The aluminum one is just too dangerous. At least the rubber tire is a known quantity. 3 days later, July 5th. The hard work has paid off and the liner is back on the salt, this time with a rubber front tire. Dave runs it up through the gears and everyone crosses their fingers. Not only does it work, it makes its fastest time ever, 305 miles per hour. To qualify officially, however, the time has to be backed up with a second run in the opposite direction, and then the 2 times are averaged. The 2 runs have to be made within a 2-hour period, or the first time is scrapped and you start over again. Just under the deadline, the Streamliner is turned around, checked out, and on its way back. He's on his way to a 301 for an average of 303 miles an hour. The bike is cooking. This is a full 18 miles an hour better than last year's class record, but it's still a ways to the target of 318. Meanwhile, an oil leak during the run started a small fire and burned some of the injector lines, so it's back to the hangar for more work and another shot tomorrow. It's always something. Friday, July 6, dawn. The crew is ready to go, but nature resists. A 10-mile-an-hour crosswind is too dangerous. By 8:30, the wind has dropped to 5 miles an hour and the course is declared safe. .741 miles an hour. They're hot on the tail of the Kawasaki record.
The wind is turned.
This is the fastest Dave has ever gone, and his wife is there to congratulate him. "90 minutes later, and they're turned around and rolling. The rules governing international land speed racing require that you beat the old record by 1%, so they'll need an average of just under 322 to set a new record. That means they're gunning for about 326 on the return. But now a new problem has developed. One cylinder sucked up salt during the crash, slowing the liner to 299 on the return trip. It's good for another class record of 308, but the bad news is that these engines may be in for more trouble. Joe decides to return to the hangar and install 2 new motors rather than take a chance that one of the other 3 cylinders might succumb to the same salt disease. Despite this setback, the Streamliner is proving extremely durable. The crane cams, Morse magnetos, and House of Horsepower crankcases are performing without a hitch. Performance Machine provided the driveline and brakes, and Sumax made the braided lines. The only failure was caused by the crash, and even the hog oil couldn't help the motors after that. Saturday, July 7. It's taken all night and most of the day to swap motors and get them set up. After a final tuning run, Keith is ready to turn up the horsepower and give the record another shot. This run is at 291 miles per hour, despite a missed shift. The return run, with another missed shift, tops out at 293. The next day's runs are no better, so it's time to reevaluate. The gearbox has taken a beating and will need a complete rebuild.
To me, it was just another minor setback. From my personal standpoint, there was no heavy decision to be made, and it was a matter of pacing ourselves so that we wouldn't either burn out the machinery or burn out ourselves before we accomplished the record.
Handling problems are traced again to the front tire. The cords are starting to separate inside the tire and a bump has developed on the outside. This one is history, and there's only one backup.
The tires we have managed to just scrounge up. When these tires were made that we are running right now, there was considerable interest in all kinds of racing. There's just virtually no demand for anything to go that fast. Some of the manufacturers even today are making tires that will run way up in the 200-mile-an-hour range, but they recommend that you absolutely do not use those tires on anything going over 300 miles an hour.
Thursday, July 12th. Everything is back in place and the liner is rolling again. The bike is shifting perfectly again, and it clocks a 316 despite being set up a little too rich. The crew knows they can lean it out and go for broke on the return trip. The magic number is 326 to break the absolute record, and it's obviously within reach. The return trip goes perfectly and the crew waits for the announcement of the time, poised to celebrate. But there is no time. The clock malfunctioned on this most critical run.
When the clock didn't work, that was real upsetting at that point. We were right on it at that point. We knew we had the record, but when Bonneville couldn't get us, it got the clocks.
By this time, these guys are thinking if it weren't for bad luck, they wouldn't have any luck at all. But now they know they have the stuff to break the record. Surely it's just a matter of time. The front end is wobbling again, holding Dave to a 296. That can be fixed, but now there's another problem. The Pontiac tow car, after 17 full throttle tows to 100 miles an hour on nitrous boost, blew a piston. The only other vehicle is a Chevy 454 pickup. Not nearly as powerful as the hot rod Pontiac, but there's no choice. It'll have to do. Bonneville's course is 11 miles long with 5 miles to get up to speed at each end and the timed flying mile in the middle. With a less powerful tow truck, they've got to start an extra quarter mile beyond the 0 marker to have enough room to get up to speed. And it's still a struggle. The engines bog under the tall gearing and sound like they may not clear up at first. But they do. This run is a solid 322 for a 319 average. Faster than the Kawasaki went. But it's not within the 2-hour turnaround time, nor is it a full 1% over the old record. It's encouraging, but they'll have to try again tomorrow. It's almost 9 o'clock and the light is gone. The Streamliner has made 16 runs up and down the Salt over a 14-day stretch. Everyone thought they'd either have the record by now or have given up trying. The last front tire is wearing thin, they're out of fuel, and the chute is worn out from dragging in the salt.
Well, this is 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and it's 4th down, and you're behind by 6 points in a football game. We knew what we had to do. We knew we could do it. Everybody was tired and beat up, and nerves were frazzled, but it was a team effort at that point.
And one more thing. During the night, Joe wakes up in a sweat and remembers the other end of the course. It doesn't have the extra quarter mile needed for the new tow truck. No problem. One phone call in the middle of the night, and Al Sherman puts together a miracle crew, including several devoted individual sponsors who get the road into shape by morning. Saturday, July 14th. Someone scrounged up more fuel in Salt Lake City, and a new chute arrived. They're not licked yet.
Pad 3, looking good.
The run is a disappointing 3:01. An inspection reveals oil lying in the rear injector stack. That means just one thing. They lost a piston. Now it's crunch time, and the crew's racing experience pays off. By 1 o'clock, the motors are ready to roll again. But Dave gets a bad start off the tow rope, drifts off course, and smacks a course marker, shattering the plexiglass canopy. Dave's okay, but the canopy is totaled. While the rest of the crew catches their breath, Leon fixes the canopy and has it ready for another attempt by 6:30. With a little luck, there will be time for one more pair of runs before dark, possibly the last shot at the record.
Came past the 4, looking good.
Dave goes after it, and the run is clocked at 3:21.429. The return trip will only have to be a fraction faster to average 3:22 and break the Kawasaki's record. The front tire is showing wear, but it looks like it'll stand one more run. All other systems are meticulously checked, as always, before making the backup run. The bike is refueled, turned around, and ready in plenty of time. But watch the tail of the liner, right there. It ain't supposed to be shooting flames. Dave aborted the run when he realized the liner wouldn't steer left. He knew there wasn't time to pop both chutes coast to a stop and still have time for a restart, so he stomped on the brake at 180 miles an hour. That's what the flash was. It ate up the outer edge of the brake rotor. But for a good cause, there is time for a restart. The 2-hour clock still shows 45 minutes, time enough to adjust the linkage and fix the steering problem. The engines fire, but something's not right. There's a wet start on the front engine. With the 2-hour clock ticking, the body panels are pulled, plugs removed and dried, the engine spun with the starter, and the plugs and body panels are replaced. The tow truck had overheated and could barely pull the Streamliner fast enough to get started. The engines bog. But Dave is able to clutch it, clean them out, and keep going. It's not easy because these motors are tuned to run wide open.
Fire through the 9. Through the 8.
The approach looks good, but it starts to get out of shape at about 300 miles an hour as the front tire begins to shred. You can see the bike rocking here on the final approach to the traps. But Dave pulls out all the stops. He lets up on it to straighten it out and then nails it again through the time mile. The crew waits anxiously until the word comes over the radio.
Speed through the mile was 322.870 miles per hour.
And a quick calculation reveals a two-way average of 322.150 miles per hour. The fastest motorcycle in history.
I think the most satisfying thing about setting this record was the fact that it was done by trial and error, using common sense and backyard mechanics. We didn't have a team of aerospace engineers helping us figure out what to do every step of the way. It was the old guts and glory technique.
It had taken 21 runs on questionable tires in 16 days. Untold man-hours in preparation and on the salt, exhausting days and sleepless nights.
When we were on our way to Bonneville this year, we were sure we knew exactly what to do. We figured out the average length of time the crew thought we were going to be there when we were on our way was 3 days. We thought we could do it in 3 days. Bonneville, what a place.
Joe, on the other hand, has been coming to Bonneville for close to 30 years and has a veteran's perspective.
We reserved 14 days on the salt, so we went 2 days longer than I'd originally anticipated.
I'm just proud that the crew hung together. I'm proud that Joe Teresi asked me to come do this. And I'm glad that I had the crew that I had. We did this for everybody riding American motorcycles.
Before they need to defend the title, the crew will have plenty of time to savor their victory. It wasn't easy, but nothing worth having ever is. They conquered the Kawasaki and the bad luck, and they conquered Bonneville.